Hey there, guys, and welcome to another episode of our program where we help people to build a better life by building their life skills, honing their life skills, and then addicts by building recovery skills. And today we're going to talk about a topic which is 8 essential skills that adults in recovery need to focus on. And if you're an adult alcoholic or drug addict in recovery, who is trying to build and rebuild your better life, your recovery journey. And these are 8 areas which, if you concentrate on them, will bring great value to you. And just for those that are interested, we offer a 30-day and a 90-day program and then an ongoing care program that deal with these amongst other issues, not just with the essentials of recovery, but with the essentials of rebuilding your mindset and rebuilding your life. Is that you need to practice self-care. Often when we're using and when we are in addiction, we get into a space where others don't care about us. Others look down on us and see us as junkies, drunks, and they don't want us to be part of their world. And so we isolate ourselves from that world. We don't feel we fit in anymore, so we withdraw. And finding your next score becomes far more important than making sure your face is shaved, making sure you're clean, and making sure the body odor is gone, etc. And certainly when you're into heavy addiction. And so one of the ways to break that mold and that mindset is as we begin to practice self-care. Now this looks at your hygiene, but it looks at also your clothes, it looks at your attitude in life, all different aspects of your life. Self-care, getting enough sleep, getting enough of good things, following the right patterns, the right routines in your life is essential. And that's number one, which is practice self-care. Number two is plan and cook nutritious meals. Number one, as an addict, you're trying to keep your time busy, and so sometimes after work, when you would have headed off to the pub, it might be a good thing to go and go past the spa or the local supermarket and buy some ingredients to go home and plan a nutritious meal that you're going to now prepare. Number one, it'll take up some of your time, but number two, it's healthy for you. And as you begin to develop a healthier body that feels better, you begin to enjoy your life in your new body. This body that doesn't feel hungover, doesn't feel jaded, doesn't feel in pain. This body that feels healthy. And so you would need to go and do some research. It's awesome today. We've got YouTube and Google and all these things right at our fingertips. And so what you can then do is you can go and you can do the research and get good nutrition. Find out, what do I need in my diet? So planning and cooking nutritious meals is the second one. Number three is that you need to set achievable personal goals. Now, it's a healthy thing for you to set a goal for clean time. And if the longest you've ever been clean is 2 days, then set the goal of being clean 3 days. If the longest you've ever been is clean is the 3 months that you were in rehab or the 6 months you were in rehab, well, set a goal for yourself to lengthen that by 1 month. When you've achieved it, renew your goal to extend that by another month. And before you know it, you will have 6 months in rehab and 6 months out of rehab. And you begin to build your clean time, 1 day at a time, setting new goals all the time. But it also helps to set good, healthy financial goals, relational goals, timelines to fix things and to build things within your life, goals and plans to get financially on your feet, repair the financial damage that you've done during your time of addiction or alcoholism. And these are important things. These are good things to look at. And in my recovery journey, I had a point where I had to sit down and I had to plan how to overcome the debt that I'd created. Because when I was in active using, I got to a stage where I just cashed everything and I got rid of everything, and I had to begin to survive, begin to rebuild myself, and setting healthy. But remember, you need to set achievable personal goals. So don't be unrealistic. Don't say, well, I'm clean now, 6 months out of 6 months in rehab, 2 days out of rehab. In 6 months' time, I want to be a multi-millionaire. when you're struggling to find a place to stay. That's unrealistic. It might happen, but it's unrealistic. The chances are very slim of it happening. But setting a realistic goal of saying, well, you know what, I'm staying with family. I want to be in a position a year from now to have stabilized my job and be in my own place. That's a healthy goal. So learn to set those sort of goals for yourself, obtaining a vehicle, etc. Then wherever you are, whether you're staying with family, whether you're staying in some sort of a shelter, whether you're staying in your own flat, your own house, your own whatever, maintain a clean living space. You know, it takes nothing from us to, when we've had a cup of coffee, instead of leaving that coffee cup lying there from Monday until Friday when we finally run out of dishes, it takes nothing to pick it up, put it in the sink, rinse it, put it out, you know, have a meal, wash up the dishes, stack them on the drainer, go do what you want to do before you go to bed, stack them in the cupboard, wipe the surfaces. When you come in the morning, it feels so good to walk into a clean environment. You need to learn to just maintain a clean living space. Number one, always bear in mind, all these activities fill time. They fill time with healthy activities, and they help you to tick through one more day just faster and faster. But you also find a point where it's no longer just about time. You start to enjoy the new environment, enjoy the new life you're building yourself. Enjoy the order in your home. Before I started using drinking and drugging, my home was very, very disorderly. It was very orderly first. Then I started to drink and drug, and everything fell apart. There was no order. Everything was just chaos. There was mess. The washing would pile till I ran out of clothes. The dishes would pile till I ran out of dishes. And why? Because when you're drinking and drugging, you don't care about life. And so when you begin to develop a sober mindset, a healthy mindset, you begin to look at the environment around you and say, I can't live like this. I need to change. I need to, and in the beginning of our recovery, we can't afford people to help us and things like that. And so we need to keep our own things clean and our own environment clean. So maintain a clean living space. And then manage your finances. Now, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but finances are one of those things that if they're left to their own devices, they run away from you. Number one, my advice would be if you've got debt, address it. Don't ignore it. Don't run away from it. It gets worse. Address it. Contact people and be open with them. When I was on my recovery journey, I was open with people. I went to them and said, you know what, I ran up the debt when I was in active addiction. I'm not looking to hide away from it, but I'm looking to sort it out. But I don't have the resources to sort it out. There were people that wrote off money. There were people that gave me time and grace to pay it. And there were people that demanded immediate payment or immediate payment plan. What I can tell you is legally, if you're not in a position to pay them in full, if you pay them something, you'll be okay. And so you need to address your debt carefully. And of course, today we have professional people that can help us with it, but there's pitfalls with all of these areas. And so you need to address it. Plan your finances. And it doesn't matter if you've got 1,000 Rand and most of that goes to rent. Whatever's left, you need to plan very, very carefully. And if you plan it carefully, you'll find that one way or the other, you can have enough money. And slowly, they say we don't need 10% more, we need to plan 10% better. And then when the 10% more comes, we'll live so much more better, more than 50% better. So plan your finances. Work with somebody if you need to. In our longer term courses that we do, not this free material, there is a module where we look very detailed at finance and at how to dig ourselves out of holes and manage our finances and run a budget. Number 6 is building healthy relationships. For many of us, the relationships we built in active drinking and drugging, we got to break them. And why? Because my buddies that used to enjoy my company when I was drunk, my friends that enjoyed using with me, don't enjoy my company anymore. And their company is dangerous to me because if I hang out with them for long enough, I'm going to drink and I'm going to drug. Certainly in the early days. And so I've got to find new friends. Sometimes I may have damaged relationships. For many, the romantic relationships that they were in, they damaged. If you didn't destroy it and you're still with your wife or your husband, you may have a lot of work. And so you need to make work of building healthy relationships. But don't forget, healthy relationships are also your relationship with God, which is a big part of your recovery journey. your relationship with with sponsors, with counselors, with coaches, with role models, with parental figures, with support structure. That's important. Those relationships are important. And sometimes it can be just as important to have a coffee with a friend that knows how to stay clean, a friend that knows how to have a coffee with you instead of only knows how to have a drink with you. And those kind of relationships, the more you build those relationships, the kind of relationships that don't say, you were trying to stay sober, it's my job to trip you up. But the kind of relationships that say, hang on, you got a problem with alcohol, you got a problem with drugs, I'm not going to tempt you. I'm quite happy to drink coffee with you or drink Coca-Cola with you to keep you sober one more night. So build those healthy relationships. And then you need to manage your time responsibly, because we've only got 24 hours in a day. And even though you're trying to build up clean time, you need to manage your time carefully. One of the important things is don't give yourself too much free time, because free time is when our heads get very busy and when the little wheels start to turn and we start to long back to what seems in some moments like the good old days, but are the bad old days. And so manage your time, but in spite of the fact that you don't need too much time to get into your head, you still need time to rest. You need time to relax. You need time where you can unwind. And so allow yourself that time where you can have downtime, but plan it. It's better to do a session of planned yoga or a session of meditation, or to sit and read a book in a time where you're trying to find some relaxation, rather than just sitting aimlessly with too much free time, wondering what mischief you're going to get up to. And then number 8, which is the last one, is that you need to find and maintain employment. So if you're unemployed, this can be difficult. Let's face it, if you're living in South Africa, if you're watching this from South Africa, we have, I'm sure it must be going after this last pandemic wave, must be going to over 50% unemployment, which means that 1 in 2 people are not going to have a job, which means you have to go find a job. Sometimes you may have to create a job. You may have to find something you're good at and go and do it, and try and do it, or monetize it. You may need to, but remember, if you just want to get a job, then finding a job becomes your job. That means if you would have got up at 6, got ready to go to work at 7, and started working from 8, you get up at 6, you get ready for a day, and you get underway by 7, and you go to an area. And if you have to, you knock on those factories, or you send CVs, you go to a friend's office where he owns his own company, and ask him for a quiet corner where you can just send email every company that you could possibly work for. Make effort to find a job. CEOs will not leave the comfort of their office to come and look for you when you're on your rehab journey. You need to scour the papers, you need to phone the companies, you need to send your CV, you need to talk to friends that are safe, talk to family, network, pull out every possible opportunity. And then, like I say, you need to think. You need to also think. And you need to think, what do I need to earn this week to cover my rent? What do I need to earn to keep surviving and keep food? Don't always have your hand out. There may be some around you that are willing to help you and fill your hand, but don't put your hand out. First, use your brain and try and see what you can do to bring in employment. And then, of course, when you find a job, and particularly some of you, your companies sent you to rehab. Now, you've come back from rehab and there's a stigma, and it's not always nice and it's uncomfortable. But just remember, you have a debt. You have a moral and ethical debt, because your company stood with you when it was their moral and ethical responsibility not to throw you away, but to see you on a journey. So what you need to do is return that same moral, ethical debt by working hard, by looking after your job. Don't make excuses, even if you don't have. And so you look after your job. So you find, and then you maintain employment. That's how you maintain employment, is by looking after your. That's all on this subject, on the 8 essential skills for adults in recovery. And So I hope that's been of value. This is our free content. And obviously there's a lot more of these principles dealt with in our formalized courses. If you're interested in those formalized courses, then please contact me. I'm Alan Latta, and I'm an addiction recovery coach. And have a great day.